بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق أجمعين محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. We are still in the subject of women rights in Islam, and we discussed in the previous lecture about matrimonial rights, and we discussed about rights of the wife, her freedom to choose the husband, and her right to have a dowry and its philosophy, and the philosophy why permission of the father is needed for the first marriage of the girl. And today we are discussing other subjects related to matrimonial rights. One of the rights is to get kind and fair treatment. Well, it is said or misconception about Islam that it is Islam is religion of the man, and the man is the main powerful person and he can have all his rights, and the woman has no right. He may treat his wife in a good way or in a bad way, whatever way, because he is superior, etc. Well, all that is not right. That is totally is wrong. Actually, the Holy Quran mentioned about the women specifically, وَعَشُرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, an order to the men to have good treatment with their wives. In Surah Al-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 19, and treat them kindly. So the idea is to treat them kindly, and in some other verses say وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, and for them, for the wives, as it is their duties, that to get treatment in good. So as it is expected from the wife to have good treatment with her husband, it is expected that the husband to have good treatment with his wife. So basically good treatment is the idea. Generally when we see Islamic rules and regulations in general, it is not such that they draw a very sharp line between rights of the man and rights of the woman, and they say, well, this is your right, that is my right, and then they fight what to take, which one will get more from the other. No, that is not the idea. That is the way when the people are very greedy, not dealing in a human way. Human being is not a machine to say, okay, the machine will move in this way, this is the line, and you cannot cross the line. The dealing, when you say ma'ruf, in good, everything is good that is expected. To be generous is good. To be submissive to others is good. To be kind to others is good. To forgive mistakes of others is good. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said you have to treat them in good, or expected that you as a Muslim to deal with your wife in a good way, in a good manner, that is mean in all aspects of goodness. Naturally, to be generous, that is an extra. You are spending from your own money. It may not be your responsibility, but still is expected from you to be generous. Actually, it is said in many traditions from the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Ahlul Bayt, salamullahi alayhim, that the best type of charity is charity for the near kins, and sometimes mentioned even the wife. If my wife needs, and suppose her livelihood, obligatory livelihood, is fulfilled, but she needs some extra money, so the best charity is to give to her. It is recommended, for example, every Thursday night, let us say the weekend in Islam, because Friday is the weekend. So every Thursday night when you come, you bring a gift to the family at home. Well, this is not obligatory, of course, recommended, but then what I mean, you see the teachings of Islam about fair way of dealing with the wife, to be kind, to be generous. One of the main conditions mentioned that the man or the husband, he should tolerate mistakes of his wives. It said there is a great reward from Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if the husband forgives mistakes of his wife. Not for any small mistake they create fight and clash and they say, oh, this is right, that is not right, this is my right, that is your right. Well, sometimes she may have certain mistakes because of anyhow weaknesses, because of her hormonal changes, etc., because she is tired from the house, the children, for whatever reason. It doesn't mean that you say, okay, you have to be very waiting only to find any mistake and then you start quarreling or fighting for small things. You say, no, you just forgive the mistakes and Almighty God will forgive you. So that is, the word when he said to have the best way of dealing with your wife at home, you say ma'ruf in Arabic, in good. Good way has 1,000 practical meaning, how to be good, to be generous to her, to be kind to her, to look after her, to think about her, to listen to her, to fulfill her needs, to think about her problems and misery, to take her out if she needs to go out, to take her with to her family, to visit her mother, her father, etc. if she wants to go with her, let us say, for the graveyard, if she wants to visit some of her ancestors, though they may not be your relatives, but still as an honor to your wife, you have to remember that, and 1,000 ways of practical implementation for treating with her in a good way, in dealing in the best possible way. We see the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after death of his great wife Khadija al-Mu'mineen, he was in Medina, she died in Mecca, and after 3 years he migrated to Medina, and then he married many other wives. And whenever he used to have some food, he said, send part of this food to so and so family because they used to be friendly with my wife Khadija. After 7-8 years of her death, still he honors the friends of Khadija for the name of Khadija, because these people were friends of Khadija. It was so much he used to remember her that one of his wives was angry, probably jealous, and he said, why do you remember Khadija always, and Allah has changed you with better wife than her? Then the Prophet said, no, Allah did not change me with a better wife. She supported me when nobody supported me, and she gave me all her wealth to spend it in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then Allah gave me the children from her, and other wives did not have a chance to be pregnant, So what I mean, the Holy Prophet used to remember Khadija and remember the friends of Khadija. And in different occasions, when you have any type of, let us say, feast, any food, any that, he say, send this one to those family because they were friend of my wife Khadija who died, So that is type of, let us say, honoring the name, They know why Prophet remember them, because they were friend of his wife. So this is an honor to the memory of his wife. So when the Quran said, وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, this word, when you come to Islam and say ma'ruf, where is to be used in Islam, you see there are wide practical things under that coming, that what is dealing in good way of dealing, So that covers actually all aspects of life in a better, the best manner, the best moral, the best behavior with the wife to be dealt with. So that treatment is for both the men and women. Let us say husband and wife, they have to look after each other in a good way. Well, one more things will come after that, number, let us say E, obedience to husband, and that is in bed. A lot of confusion about this happened. That why the woman has to obey the husband. Why not the husband obey his wife? Well, confusion is probably meant by media, which is anti-Islam, to create Islamophobia. Actually, it is very natural question. The only main right of the husband upon his wife is to obey him in matter of private things in bed, you know, because the basic principle of marriage is to have that sort of relation and to fulfill instinctive desires, you know. If she disobey him to fulfill his instinctive desires, then what he is supposed to do? To go and marry another one, or go in a wrong way, or have, let us say, suffering and create a problem for his life. That is a basic right, you know. Naturally, it is not such that if she is not in mood, or she is, let us say, in a special situation, etc., he has to fight and clash. And as I said, you know, عاشرهن بالمعروف, when he has to deal with his wife in a good way, in a good manner, naturally he will think about his wife. She is sick today, and he will not expect her to be prepared to fulfill his needs. You know, he is tired, then he look after her. He realizes he is a human being, and he realizes he loves his wife, he likes his wife, and he knows the problems and difficulties his wife has, you know. It is not like that, you know. So the obedience is only here. Actually, it is not basically duty of the wife to cook at home, not a duty to wash the clothes of the husband at home, not her duty to clean the house. Even it is not her duty to raise the children and take care of the children, even not her duty to give milk to the children. I mean, not her duty. She can ask her husband to pay her money because she is breastfeeding his children, and naturally her children. You know, she can ask for money to clean the house, or to wash the clothes, or to clean the dishes, or whatever service to do at home. She can ask her right, let us say, money or whatever, wages for that, basically. But practically speaking, that is not happening in the Muslim, let us say, families, you know, because it is understood the wife is so kind to the husband that she is doing all those duties willingly, without somebody tell her it is your right to do it, or somebody fight with her, she has to do it. She likes the husband, she likes her house, she likes her children, and she needs her house to be very clean, neat, the husband to be comfortable. She knows that the duty of the husband to take care of the expenses of the family, and the husband has to go out, has to work hard. Well, that working, there's a lot of challenges at time of the work, for whatever type of work, whether it is a service or business, or let us say in a professional work he is doing, whatever is his job, and there is a lot of psychological pressure upon the husband. And when the husband comes back, she likes her husband to get rest at home, and then out of her kindness she prepared whatever food, or the house to be clean, neat, peaceful for him. So the relation is, as I said, sacrifice, not take, you know, actually give, you know. The wife want to give whatever she can to make her husband happy, and the husband want to give whatever he can in order to make his wife happy. Okay, there are rules and regulations, no doubt, that to be there, but what I mean, the basic treatment is the one, عاشرهن بالمعروف, to deal with them in a good way. So that right is there. Well, it was mentioned a few months before in the media that in Afghanistan they want to pass a law that if the wife do not obey the husband is allowed to let her die of hunger. You see, they put it in that way, you know. Naturally, that is very bad way and to talk about Islamic rules and regulations, you know. Unfortunately, the media is very biased and unjust, you know. It is not allowed to her. What they mean, if she disobey him, she will not deserve nafaqah. Nafaqah means expenses, because expenses are wajib upon the husband to spend for the house. Expenses, let us say food, drink, dress, house, all expenses of the house are upon the husband, and the wife, even if she is rich, is not supposed to spend money. If she wants willingly to spend her money, that is fine, up to her. But it is not her duty to spend for her own expenses, but she has to ask her husband for her own expenses, and it is the duty of the husband to spend on his wife whatever she needs money, for her dress, for traveling, for medical treatment, for food, for housing, for any expenses, electricity, water, all expenses of the house in a, let us say, usual, normal way, whatever the wife deserves of a house, you know, whatever usual furniture to be in the house, you know, that is a duty of the husband. Now that duty we call nafaqah. Nafaqah means the livelihood or expenses of the wife is a duty of the husband. Now if the wife disobey the husband, it's called the term nashiz in fiqh. Nashiz means she is not obeying the husband, as we said, the obligatory obedience in matters of bed, you know. Naturally here, it will not be duty of the husband to spend on his wife and to fulfill her expenses. Not to fulfill her expenses does not mean he will allow her to die of hunger. This is not the translation of that, you know. So it is not a duty to spend. She may have her own money, she can spend from her own money. She may have money from parents who will look after her. The government will look after her. I mean, if somebody is employed and he said it is allowed for the boss to lay off the people and let them die of hunger, that is not the right term, you know. Lay off, right, but if somebody is unemployed, he might have his own money to live from his own money. If I want 20% of my staff because of economic problems to lay off the staff, does not mean they will die of hunger. That is not meaning of laying off. Lay off means I am not responsible of your expenses. I will not pay you salary from, let us say, next month. Now to die of hunger, that is something else. They may have their own money, they may have their own investment, they may get a job somewhere else, the government might help them. There are 1,000 ways to live. So not to be responsible of nafaqah does not mean is allowed to let her die of hunger. That is not the translation. But you see, the media is very unjust about Islam, you know, and they put things a very wrong way. Naturally, everybody here is saying, oh, how that is Islamic rule and regulations that if she disobey him, and disobey him means, okay, get me a glass of water. She said, no, I'm tired. So, no, okay, now you die of hunger. Well, it is not like that. It is not asking for a glass of water and not to die of hunger. You know, this is not the answer about it. But, so the Islamic way, they say the basic object and of the marriage is, let us say, be fulfilled, and the husband is responsible of livelihood of the family, and naturally the wife has to obey him, and in that way they live as a happy family. So that is for the benefit of the strengthening the family ties. Otherwise the family ties will be dissociated. If he disobey her and she disobey him, naturally the family will be threatened and will be dissociated, or ultimately will lead to divorce and let us say bad consequences of that. So This is the matter about the right or obedience. As he said, obedience is on special needs, is only the obligatory one. The rest, obedience, okay, if it were as part of the marriage contract. I mean, if the husband say, okay, I expect my wife to take care of the usual works at home, then it become part of her duty if it is put at the beginning of the marriage contract. If not, then it is not. Well, sometimes if it is understood from the culture, from the media, from the society, that these are the duties of the wife, okay, then it become her a duty. But as I said, the wife will do all those duties because she likes to be active and to make her husband and her children live happy, and is not expecting to get money of that. And from the other side, the husband will not give only the obligatory needs of his wife. I mean, obligatory needs, she might need, let us say, 2 dresses for winter and 2 dresses for summer, for example. Then he will not say, okay, I will pay only for 2 dresses and no more. No. Well, his wife needs 3, 4, 5 dresses. He will buy for her 5. It's not in that way. It is not obligatory to go in the weekend and have entertainment somewhere out. Not obligatory. Say, okay, I will not do it because not obligatory. No, it is not in that way. He loves his wife, and she sees his wife all the week, is tired. Okay, now in the weekend, let us have an outing. They go to a restaurant, take food together, or enjoy a smaller trip around, etc. So that it is not obligatory, yes, but as I said, it will be part of ma'ruf, we'll say, to deal in a good way. Good way means whatever is good for both of them. So that is the main target in Islam. The spirit of Islamic rules and regulations is that one. Whatever rules and regulations mentioned, anyhow, something has to be mentioned. So these are what has been mentioned in case of, let us say, some confusion or some clashes between husband and wife, or they do not know what is their rights and their duties, then okay, certain things were mentioned in books of fiqh, and you say, okay, these are your rights and that is his right, and you have to fulfill your rights as it is. Naturally, if she is not kind to him, then he will not be kind to her from the other side. But as I said, if they are religious and they are expected to be religious as a Muslim, he is kind to her not because of the right, because of generosity. He has to be generous. He has to deal good with her. And she sacrificed her time and her services for him free of charge, not because it is her duty, no, because she wants to be kind and to get reward from Almighty God. So the spirit of family life is to be kind and generous to each other. However, in case of some differences, naturally these rules and regulations are mentioned. Well, another point mentioned, that is punishment in cases of disobedience. Well, in the Holy Quran, it is mentioned, and is good. I read the ayah because about this point there is a lot of confusion as well. So it's better to read the ayah. It is in Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verse 34. الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم فالصالحات قانتات حافظات للغيب بما حفظ الله واللاتي تخافون نشوزهن فعظوهن واهجروهن في المضاجع واضربوهن فإن أطعنكم فلا تبغوا عليهن سبيلا. Men are the maintainers of women because Allah has made some of them to excel others, and because they spend out of their prosperity. The good women are therefore obedient, guarding the unseen as Allah has guarded, and as to those on whose part you fear desertion, admonish them and leave them alone in the sleeping place and beat them. Then if they obey you, do not seek a way against them. Surely Allah is high, great. Here some points are for discussion. They said, الرجال قوامون على النساء. Men are the maintainers of women. قوامون, they are, let us say, the guardians or maintainers, as translated here by Shakir, translation of the Holy Quran. What does it mean? Well, in the house, naturally, one has to have the right to run affairs of the family. And it is mentioned that the men are responsible for that. And the Holy Quran also mentioned why that is mentioned. بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given powers and ability to some and was not given to others. Well, the man, as we discussed, his muscles, his power, his ability is stronger, and he can protect the house, naturally protect the family. So that is gifted to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and naturally he is expected to be responsible of the family. To be responsible, naturally, somebody has to lead, and he is made the one to be lead. Anybody who is responsible, he has to lead the family to the right direction. So if that is given because of that ability. And وَبِمَا أَنْفَقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ, because he is responsible to spend from his own money. As we said, the maintenance of the house or expenses are a duty of the husband, not a duty of the wife. So if he has to spend money, naturally he has to decide about fulfillment of the needs of the family. And he will have let us say, the last word to decide. Naturally, his money to be spent. He decides what type of furniture, what type of food, what type of expenses. He can budget his expenses in a good way, because that is his duty. And then that option was given to him. That does not mean that he is a dictator in the house. Qawamun is not a dictator. If you say the government has a president, for example, the president means a dictator to the country. But somebody has to run affairs of the country. It's called the president or prime minister or a minister or director general of any section. Director general is not a dictator there. He's responsible to run affairs of that office, that ministry, that charge. So when we come to the house, in the family relations, either the husband is responsible or the wife to be responsible. One of them literally has to lead the family and look after them. So Allah gave that responsibility to the husband, and he said, well, you are responsible. You have to fulfill all the needs of the house, and you are responsible of that. So this responsibility is not to say that it is something dictatorship in the house and then she is enslaved by him. No. Responsibility is not slavery to others. You see, when they want to twist the words to create media against Islam, they put it in that ugly way. Well, practically, because of love between husband and wife, he will not do things without acceptance and permission of his wife. Actually, he may sacrifice if he likes some sort of furniture, for example, and his wife likes another type of furniture. He will buy what his wife's like, because he say, for me, it's okay. She's at home most of the time. Let her enjoy that for them. So that is the usual feeling of the husband in Islamic environment. Not the feeling that, no, I am the master, I will decide, nobody has the right to talk. No, it is not like that. It was never like that in a Muslim family. So you see, to put qawamun means they are standing or they are guarding or they are responsible as something bad. No, it is not bad. After all, in Islam, there is always this advice that if you are traveling, if you are three people traveling together, appoint someone responsible, leader of the three, because three will have three ideas. Should we stay here or not? Should we sleep here or not? Should we go to this restaurant or not? We go to that hotel or not? So three ideas will not work. So they say you appoint one to be your leader. You are three friends, but appoint someone that he will lead the journey for his colleagues. Even if you are two, they said appoint one, and the second one will listen to him. It doesn't mean if we appoint one, he is a dictator there. He says, since you agreed that I will run the journey, so you have to obey me, whatever I say. It's not like that. He is responsible to run. After all, when there are difference of views, then somebody has to solve the problem. So okay, it's his decision, whatever is his decision, and that will finish. So here when he say that الرجال قوامون, first of all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the power for that, the ability, the psychology, the mentality, the physical power, all that. And secondly, he is the one who spent the money, so he's responsible of that. So then Allah praises the women, فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ. He said the good women are therefore obedient, guarding the unseen with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has guarded. Then come to the second point, which is also creating confusion. وَاللَّاتِ تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنَّ. And as to those on whose part you fear desertion. Now, if a husband is fearing that his wife will not obey him, we said nushuz is the term in fiqh in Arabic, means she is not obedient to the husband, and that is, we said, in the private matters. Now, if she is not obeying, what the husband will do? We tell, okay, you divorce her right away. You beat her, you punish her. What to do if not, So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made stages there to go. The first level, they said, عَظُوهُنَّ, preach them, admonish them, tell them that it is her duty to obey, and that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it her duty. She has to obey, otherwise it will be haram for her. And then remind her that she has to be kind to the husband, otherwise she is threatening the family life, and that is not good. So the first stage is maw'idha, and that is, let's say, preaching them. Well, if she did not listen, still she is not obedient, say وَهْجُرُوهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ. No, leave them in bed, you go and sleep in another room, to show that you are unhappy with her behavior. That behavior is not accepted, and what she is doing is completely wrong. That is threatening the family life. So the first stage of preaching did not work. Second stage, practically she should know that you are away of her in bed, you are sleeping in another second room. Now the third stage is said وَضْرِبُوهُنَّ, and beat them. Now beat them means what? To take a stick and beat her with a stick, or strike her in that way? It is not that way. It is asked by the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam how to beat her. He said with siwak. Siwak is like the pencil, like the pen. Siwak, as you know, is a wood, like the ball pen, So with that you beat her. You just tell her that, oh, look, you are not obedient and you are threatening the life bad. So she should reach to state that it is very serious matter what she is doing, because she refuse and continue refusing the family life. Naturally, the last stage will be divorce, because the husband can't wait all his life without having his instinctive desires fulfilled. So naturally has divorced her. But Allah said, did not divorce at the beginning. First preach her, Secondly, well, sleep in another room, in another side, so she knows that you are unhappy, unsatisfied with her. Maybe she will remember, she will feel repent, she will feel sorry for what she is doing, and later on just show her that you are very serious. And well, in fiqh it is said that when you beat, you avoid to beat the face, respect the face. So you have just to show her that you are serious, what she is doing, this is wrong, unacceptable. And then naturally the last stage, the husband, if that all those will not work, well, in another ayahs of the Holy Quran he said, you send a representative from your side, and maybe she will send a representative from her side, and they will talk that, well, she is disobedient, this is the problem, this is the matter, we have to solve the problem. So those people who are mediators, or the counseling which comes from others, they might solve the problem. If naturally that problem cannot be solved ultimately, and it is a matter of impossible to have this life running, naturally the last stage will be probably divorce, which will happen. So what I mean, this way to beat, not that you try to beat and break her bone, or cut her body, or meat and injure her. No, it is not allowed to injure her, not allowed to break the bone, not allowed to do that. As I said, it is just to show you that you are serious about her, that look, for a few days you are not listening, and it is a serious matter. The husband needs his rights. Well, if still she did not listen, naturally at the other stages maybe the family will come, or some counselors will come to solve the problem, and ultimately hopefully it will be solved in that. So here at the end say فَإِنْ أَطَعْنَكُمْ. Now if after the third stage was beating and she obeyed you, do not seek a way against them. No, do not fight with them, do not criticize them. Well, for a few days she was disobedient for whatever reason, whatever misunderstanding, because of ignorance, whatever is the reason. Now she obeys, you forget that, do not count on it, and then deal in fair way and a good way with her. So this is about this point, which also create a lot of confusion, so here what we have discussed is what we said, the obedience of husband in bed, the punishment in case of disobedience in bed, in case of nushuz, as we said, that is the meaning. The nafaqah, the livelihood or the expenses, are the duties of the husband, and the qawamun, as we say, the responsibility of the husband to run affairs of the family. The Holy Prophet ﷺ in a tradition says, never beat Allah's handmaidens. He said, never beat them. You try to avoid that as much as possible. And he said, the best of you is he who is kind to his wife. And he said, I am the best of you, because he is the most kind person to his wives. The Holy Prophet, so kind. So these are the advices of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Well, in the Holy Quran, as we see in verse 21 of Surah Al-Rum, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. Another of his signs is that he created out of you mates of your own kind, so that you may find response in them, and has instilled or ordained love and kindness between you. Verily, there are signs in this for those who reflect. So the love and mercy and kindness between husband and wife is one of the signs of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So min ayatihi, that he created from your own self, your mates, and He created love and kindness, mawaddatan wa rahmah, and mercy between both of you. So that is how Islam looks to the relation between husband and wife. But as I said, if a relation for any reason that did not work, there is disobedience, then the first step is to preach her, to advise her, secondly to show practically unhappiness, etc. So all those are before reaching the state of divorce, because that is not liked. And we see in also Surah An-Nisa chapter 4 verse 35, وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا فَابْعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا إِنْ يُرِيدَا إِصْلَاحًا يُوَفِّقِ اللَّهُ بَيْنَهُمَا. And if you fear a breach between the two, then appoint judge from his people and a judge from her people, one from her side, one from his side. If they both desire agreement, Allah will effect harmony between them. Surely Allah is knowing and aware. Well, in another point, in Surah An-Nisa also, chapter 4, well, this is full chapter about women. The chapter of women is called Nisa, the chapter 4 of the Holy Quran, and it is one of the long chapters of the Holy Quran. You see a lot of rules and regulations are mentioned there. So in the verse 128, and if a woman fears ill usage or desertion on the part of her husband, there is no blame on them if they effect a reconciliation between them. Now, if she feels that the husband is not fulfilling his duties, naturally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, they can seek reconciliation. And reconciliation is better. Naturally, it's always better to reconcile than to create fight and rift in the family. And a variance has been made to be present in the people's mind, and if you do good to others and guard against evils, then surely Allah is aware of what you do. So now if you do good, Allah is aware, and that is what I'm saying. It is not hard and fast rules and regulations, but it is based on kindness and cooperation between both of them, the husband and wife. Well, now we come to the other matter in this subject, matrimonial, about divorce. Well, divorce is in hand of the husband. The husband is allowed to make the divorce. The wife is not allowed to do that. Now some will ask why not the wife is allowed, and sometimes the husband will misuse his right and will ill-treat his wife without divorcing her, without giving her her livelihood, without looking after her should she remain. Neither she is free without a husband to go and marry another one, nor the husband is looking after her. Then that will be ruining her life. Well, it is not like that, First of all, divorce is in hand of the husband because, as we said, the husband is responsible of the family, and the man is made, created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he is more stable from his physiology and psychology, and that is because of his responsibilities outside to work hard and to deal with the society. Well, the women are made more emotional because that emotion is needed to take care of the children, actually to tolerate the problems of the children, and looking after the children and bringing up the children is not an easy matter, it's very difficult. And also she is suffering of psychological changes every month because of her period, and well, if she's pregnant, again a lot of psychological changes are there beside hormonal changes. So she is not always in a stable way. So Allah did not give her the right for divorce, because at time when she is unaware of herself because of, let us say, hormonal and psychological disorders, she might be angry and do the divorce, and that will ruin the family. So Allah put that right in hand of the man. Naturally, the man cannot misuse that, because as we said, first of all, it is his duty in front of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be kind to her. If you like your wife, fine. If you don't like her, you say, let her be free. Do not punish her, you know. If you like to live with her in good, live with her in good. If you don't like to live with her in good, do not leave her what is called hanged. Hanged means neither she is free so that she can find a chance for a second spouse, nor she had a husband to protect her and look after her. So she is in between. I mean, neither you are kind to her, nor you are divorcing her. If she is divorced, fine. After what you call iddah, transitional period, about 3 months, then she can have a chance to marry another one, fine. She can find her way in life. Or the husband has to look after her, and that is his duty. So that is the basically thing. Now, it is possible in Islam, you know, if the girl asks the husband to put it as a condition at time of the marriage contract, because the marriage is a contract, like any deal, any contract happening between two. So you can, in any contract, you can put a condition. A condition first, let us say, when she said, I do marry you myself, first with the dowry of, let us say, whatever it is, $1,000, for example. Secondly, she can put a condition that you will get me a house to live separately from your family, for example. You will not prevent me from visiting my parents whenever I want, because she has to go out with his permission. And sometimes the husband is greedy and he said, no, you are not allowed to go and visit your relatives, you know. Well, she can ask that condition to be there. I am allowed to complete my education in the university, for example, you know. And you have to give me this and that, whatever conditions needed that can be put at time of the marriage contract. That is possible. She can add one of the conditions, that in case you ill-treat me, I am allowed to be your agent in divorcing myself. So she cannot divorce herself, because divorce is in hand of the man. So she become his agent to divorce herself. So that is possible also if she wants. But in, let us say, usual and stable Muslim communities. Now, what do I mean by usual and stable? Because some of the Muslim communities are not living an Islamic way. Not all Muslim countries are living Islamic way. Unfortunately, the big cities among the different Arab and non-Arab countries, the people are not living Islamic way, living a westernized way. And their understanding, their culture is westernized way. So always those clashes between husband and wife is there, and ratio of divorce is very high there. So that is not an Islamic way, you know. I say an Islamic way when you go to cities where the people are living in a pure Islamic way. Hardly you see any divorce in that society. Well, in some of the areas, let us say in north of Iraq, it was mentioned that the court in 25 years didn't have a single case of divorce. Not a single case of divorce in 25 years. Because that cities in the mountains, in the villages, they used to live pure Islamic way. But when you come to capitals, even the Arab countries, now you see the ratio of divorce increased to 10, 20, 30, 40%, etc. Why? Well, because the people are unfortunately bombarded with sexy films and bad films and well, westernized ideas and so on. So neither the wife is stable psychologically nor the husband is stable psychologically, and then always a clash and fight is there. Well, that is not really purely Islamic state. So what I mean in a stable and good Islamic society, what I mean, not in a Muslim country, because as I said, some of the Muslim countries are not living in Islamic state, Islamic way. A lot of corruption is there, a lot of mischief is there. Well, that is not Islamic, though it is called a Muslim country or an Arab country, whatever it is. But what I mean, in a good Islamic society, you don't see those fights and clashes, hardly. Well, I lived in Najaf, hardly for 1 year. Well, in those days, let us say in 1960s, the city of Najaf was having about less than 100,000 population, and hardly in a year per year you get one case of divorce. And you don't hear about divorce cases. Matrimonial problems were solved easily with the families. Maximum, they will come to ask someone to intermediate, and he said, well, this is your duty, that is your duty, this is your right, that is your right, finish. Don't exceed your right, and well, the husband will listen, the wife will listen, and the problem is solved, Well, sometimes because they marry at early age, and that was, it's good to marry at early age so that the boy will not go in a wrong way. And because lack of experience, at the beginning of his life, the first 2-3 years of life, he has no experience. Well, sometimes the boy gets angry, he's still maybe at the adolescent age, at the age of 17, 18, 19, still has no experience in life, so he might mistreat his wife, or his wife is at a younger age, maybe 15, 16, 14 years, and she may not know her responsibility toward her husband. Okay, that some clashes might happen, and right away the family from both sides will solve the problem and fix the matter. So what I mean, that is the idea. Well, if in certain cases they found, well, their moods are different, their ideas are different, they cannot live together, it is impossible to continue this life because they are totally away of each other, which is very, very, very rare case, Okay, divorce is allowed. They say, okay, why you mistreat her? You cannot? Fine, you divorce her and let her be free. Let her find another chance, and you find another chance. Finish. No ill treatment. So it is not that the husband is a dictator and he said, okay, I will not look after you and I will not divorce you. Go to hell. I will go and marry another one and you will remain without a husband all your life. It is not like that. Even if that happens, let us say, then she can ask what you call Hakim Shara, the religious authorities, that this is the case, and the religious authorities, they will, like, let us say, the judge in these countries, they can ask the judge, Islamic judge, and the Islamic judge will come and ask the husband, how will you look after your wife and fulfill your duties, or you have to divorce her. If he refuses, then the judge will divorce his wife, that is right, and the wife will be free. So it is not that he will lock his wife for all his life and she will remain in that way. Well, it is not that way, which is people thinking. Well, of course, the divorce was made difficult in Islam. The marriage easy and the divorce is difficult. I mean, in fiqh of Ahlul Bayt, that is the case. In fiqh of the Sunni Muslims, no, they said for marriage you need 2 witnesses. For divorce, even at home, even if you are angry, if you say to your wife, you are divorced, your wife is divorced. Even if you don't mean, even if you are angry, even if you are in a drunken case. No, according to fiqh of Ahlul Bayt, it is not so. They said the marriage, Allah made it easy. They can marry together by reciting the marriage contract alone. Well, naturally, if she is, let us say, virgin, that is her first marriage, she needs permission of the father, and always it is recommended to have witnesses. But what I mean is not a must. It is recommended, fine, that is better, of course, socially is better. But what I mean, the marriage was made easy. Divorce, you cannot divorce it in that way. First of all, he has to go and find 2 just witnesses, not ordinary witnesses, 2 people who are known to be just. Secondly, the woman has to be in certain conditions that sometime in that month, those conditions are not fulfilled. She has to wait to next month when she get her menses and then get clean, and then that will happen. So it takes time, let's say 2, 3, 4 weeks time till let us say the husband can divorce his wife. During that time, in 99% of the cases, the problem is already solved by repenting to Allah, thinking what he's doing, ruining his family. Well, she is repenting. Why she is making her husband angry? Allah will be angry with her, and she's ruining her life, ruining her children, etc. And in 99% of the cases, they will reconcile. Otherwise, if they let's say Sunni Muslims, they say, well, if he say the divorce, then divorce. Then he, for any clash at home, he got angry and said, طالق, and well, she become divorced. Or if he say it 3 times, طالق, 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 means she's divorced permanently, cannot go back to her unless she marry another husband, and then iddah will pass, and then she marry. Well, anyhow, that is the not fiqh of Ahlul Bayt salamullah alayhim, according to the Holy Prophet and Ahlul Bayt salamullah alayhim. The Shia Islam said no, divorce 3 times at once is regarded 1 time, not 3 times, because the Holy Quran said at-talaqu marratan, the divorce twice. Twice means 1 divorce, and then the husband will ask his wife to return, and then after some time he is not satisfied, do a 2nd divorce. So that is 2 times. Because if you say you are divorced and the 2nd time divorced, well, she is not his wife to divorce her. Because once he says you are divorced, she is divorced. She is not his wife. No more his wife. So when he said again divorced again, divorcing whom? She is not his wife. He said 3rd time divorce, divorce, divorce. The 2nd and 3rd time divorcing whom? She is not his wife. 1st time divorce, finished, So that is not right. And the Holy Quran is clearly said it is twice. Then he says فَإِمْسَاكٌ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ تَسْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Again, it is in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 229. Divorce may be pronounced twice, then keep them in good fellowship, or let them go with kindness. Here the advice, either you keep your wife in a good way, or allow her to be divorced kindly with generosity, not with greediness. Okay, you gave her some gift, you say, okay, whatever gift I give to you, I don't want it back. Whatever, let us say, ornaments given, take it, that is yours, I don't care for that. You are more important than all that, and I could not live with you, no that, okay, let it be. So it's ihsan, generosity, to be gentleman, and he said, okay, that way. So that is the idea of divorce. Let us say it. First of all, it is أبغض الحلال إلى الله. The most unliked lawful things by Allah is divorce. It is lawful, but it is unliked because naturally it will spoil the family. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says you have to keep your wife as much as you can, and well, if there are some problems, difficulties, you are suffering because of certain weaknesses, if you tolerate that, you will be rewarded by Allah. So you accept the fact and keep the family ties together. But in case it reaches a state which is impossible to live a peaceful life and you want to divorce, okay, that permission is given to the husband to divorce, So it is not a case that it is liked or encouraged. No, it is not liked, not encouraged. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a lot of rules and regulations about divorce are there, which may not be necessary to go through all of that. But the idea is clear that the divorce is not like things, and it is like amputation in surgery. You will not amputate the leg unless you see that the leg cannot be useful to the patient, and it may be harmful because of gangrene, because of infection, because so it will create a problem for all the body. So you do amputation. So amputation is not liked, but sometimes you are forced to do it. So divorce is not liked by Allah, is not liked in Islam, but then in case the life becomes impossible to continue, that permission is given. Well, I think sufficient up to here, and then we may discuss inshallah some other points in the coming section. والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.